Hello, folks. I am Ed Overstreet, and welcome to the Night Sky Imaging YouTube channel. Uh, do. Hang on a minute. Just lost my light. And I'm imaging the sun live, so let's go there. And let me share my screen. Before I do that, I want to show you what is going on outside right now. Hang on just 1 second while I get some real estate to work with. Let's see. This is 6 minutes old, and it's a much clearer picture. So let's bring it up. And right now, it will not enlarge into a larger picture, but it will play a video. And take note over here on the rim, we have some flaring that is going to impact Mother Earth as it rotates around. And we have some filaments that are popping up over here that are also going to impact. These filaments are launching flares, and that creates a great deal, if not all, of our space weather here on Earth, from magnetic storms to radiation. At any rate, let's head out to the sun, and this is a live view of our star taken with the Daystar Solar Scout. And I'm going to be I've been running with a sinus infection for a long time. It's kept me from doing some live streaming. No one wants to hear me coughing, clearing my throat, so I may go to mute and just put some music on in a minute. I can already tell we got the wrong. Have to work with. Daggone, we're going to have to work with the. I've got the. I've got too many computers. I've got the sound system hooked up to the other computer I thought was on this one. So we're working with a pitiful mic that's on the iMac. So it's the. I don't need these either. Although I might be able to hear. This is nuts. All right. Well, I'm not stopping to change computers. Let me do one other thing here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chaos in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Wow. Got that up. And I want to check something here real quick. If that's too loud, let me know. I can't tell. This is nuts. Let's see. Okay. Wrong way. Wrong way again. I apologize for the sound because it looks like there's no way in the world I can tell, even if I can't tell. So, but I'm not here for talking. I'm here to show you the sun. And I'll be taking some images using the Solar Scout. Let's get over there. I'm trying to center the crosshairs on that sunspot, which is my reference point, just in case later on I have enough of these scout images that I want to stack them. So I'm going to take a quick capture of 500 frames and drink some coffee. These filaments right here are wicked, and there is some flaring going on over here. I'll show you what I'm talking about real quickly. I'm going to run take that back. We've already transited, so the view that I have is going to be just going to be flipped. So it's up here where the flaring is going on. So prior to the sun transiting, which is crossing the meridian, these flares were down here, but now that I've flipped them out, they're over here on this side. And if we move back to the sun, it's right here that the flares, I'm getting these flares. And these filaments up here are the ones that are kind of on the lower level of my image right now. So let's bring this down to about 2 milliseconds, say 2.28 milliseconds. These flares right here, you just have to imagine that this has been flipped, because it's what's happened. When a telescope starts following the sun, when it gets close to the meridian, the telescope is almost horizontal. It has weights, and the weights and the telescope are horizontal to the ground. And if you didn't flip them out, the telescope would end up running into the pier, or if you're using a tripod, the tripod. So I have to flip the weights on the other side and the telescope, and so it allows me now to continue slewing with the telescope slewing away from the pier, but still tracking the sun. Sounds complicated, but not really. I just make it complicated. But our star's really been acting up. Tamitha Skov, space weather woman on the Space Weather Channel, predicts we're going to be hit today, tomorrow, maybe the next day, with some storms that's going to impact the auroras, communications in the higher latitudes, and and people with heart issues, particularly in the higher latitudes, might be able to tell a difference in palpitations and issues with the hearts, because we now know it is related. related in a way that could be very helpful. Space weather is becoming much of an issue to follow and take note of as terrestrial weather. I highly recommend everybody following Tamitha Skov's, Dr. Skov's Space Weather YouTube channel. I'll put a link to her channel. A lot of work goes in to delivering solar forecast to kind of give everybody a heads up on what to expect from the NASA website, NOAA space weather forecast, and he gathers all that information together and puts it in words I can understand it. There's a lot of sophisticated data coming in, and that's just what it looks like, data. And she interprets that, translates it, and gives you graphic pictures of what's happening, why it's happening, and what impact, if any, it'll have on us. I've always enjoyed imaging the sun because it changes every time I look at it. It's always changing. The plasma on the chromosphere is just in a continuous state of movement. You can't really see it move, but when you do a time lapse, you do. Because all you're seeing is a frame at a time taken at 2.28 milliseconds. But when you put that together in a time lapse, then you see all kinds of swirling and plasmatic matter swarming on the surface of the sun. And if you're looking at it visually, you can see it. That's the Quark Chromosphere and the Solar Scout are just, if you have an interest in getting into solar photography or solar visuals, solar fun, I couldn't recommend those two devices. The Quark Chromosphere will fit on any telescope, which makes it versatile because you can change your focal lengths within limits because of the power of the sun when you get into the longer focal lengths. Considering that telescopes kind of act like a lens that magnifies. You know what happens when you magnify the sun on paper? You can set it on fire. Well, you can set your eyes on fire if you're looking at it quickly. You can certainly burn your camera up, and I mean go up in smoke. If you don't have the right hydrogen alpha filters, in some cases you need to have even additional filters for the longer focal lengths to calm down the brilliance coming from the sun so that you don't destroy your eyes or your equipment. You don't jump into this and turn it on and start looking at it. You gotta make sure you kind of follow the guidelines. We'll take another quick capture. Kind of ventured off of my spot. That's okay. In a minute, I'm going to switch rigs. I have two rigs set up right now. They're riding tandem. It's one mount, two telescopes. One of the telescopes is the Solar Scout. The Scout has a chromosphere looking device, hydrogen alpha filter, built in a 60 millimeter telescope. But you have built in these Quark Chromospheres and the Scout's hydrogen alpha filter, a Barlow that's about 4.2 magnification. So whatever the focal length is, multiply that times 4.2, and that's the reason why the sun looks as large as it does at 60 millimeters. It's because it's not 60 millimeters. It's more like 240 millimeters. And in this case, I zoomed up 125%. So it's actually zoomed in digitally. I've zoomed it in on the computer. But the telescope's really not zoomed in. I'm going to take one more, and then I'm going to switch. I'm going to be going back and forth. We've got clear skies today. We're going to have clear skies tonight. And if I can talk, again, I'm finding a sinus infection. Coming up in July, this next July, will be 2 years since I had COVID. And since I got COVID, I've had almost a continuous battle with my sinuses. I know you don't want to hear about my health issues, but I've been to the ENT doctors. ENT doctors. Been x-rayed. And there is surgery they can do, but I'm getting close to 80 years old. I'm not going to go through another surgery. I've had too many. I'll just sniffle. But at times it's so bad I won't go live just because I'm doing all that. Can't stop. I don't like going to an event. Church is, I'm almost all but giving up church just because I'll annoy everybody around me. Watch it on television. Went to my granddaughter's concert Thursday night, and actually it was a good night for me. I went to a football game last night to image it. I couldn't stay the whole game. It got so bad I had to check out. And I do the photography, so I really kind of need to be there. I want to share a story with you. I want to do that. These are great stories, and I think we're sharing. Let me go to my browser. Let me see if I got my Facebook page up. Okay. This is the Dorman High School All Sports Booster Club website page. And last night, this football player, we had senior recognition night. And all the seniors on the football team are recognized. And we recognize all the senior cheerleaders and dancers, the Bluebell dancers, etc. And this gentleman's name is Hayden Gallman. And he and his mom and his grandmother were there. And Hayden was carrying a picture of his father, and he was stationed overseas, military, couldn't be there, and Hayden and his father are extremely close. And the principal of the school was telling me he's had a really tough year this year. And so we have a huge jumbotron. I should have taken a picture of it last night. I don't know why I didn't. But the family didn't know. But when they introduced him, his daddy streamed live from Africa. and wished him well. And here are some more pictures. His mama. He'd put a sign together because they were going to take pictures and see that he got them. I asked him. I'm down on the other end with them because I'd gone up and down the sideline taking pictures of all the seniors. He was the last one. His last name's Gallman, and he should have been in the middle of the pack. It was like 42 seniors graduating, and 31 seniors graduating because of his last name. But they told him, so that he would be last and they could make this presentation, they told him they forgot him, and that just to get in the back of the line and they would recognize him last. So to add insult to injury, poor his dad couldn't be there, and they told him he's going to be last in line. And this is when I took this picture when they first saw the Jumbotron and his father. Great night. Back to the sun. We got a lot of stars. There's a lot of things in this world that are important. Last night, that's one of them. And there's a lot of things that aren't important. Of course, the sun's important. Just think of the songs we wouldn't have if we didn't have the sun. You are my sunshine. I was glad I could share that with you. I said I wasn't going to take you more, but scene is really pretty decent, so I'm going to take this last 500, then we're going to switch telescopes. And we're going to go to the ASI 174. This camera is the ASI 1600 mm Pro camera. It isn't a solar camera. The frame rate's horrible. It's 22 frames per second. But it does take it resolves such a great image, and there's so many pixels to work with, and the sun's so bright and tracking so good that I really don't have to have a high frame rate. I don't have a lot of rotation issues in the course of 500 frames to deal with. So I like that 1600 as a solar camera. But the 174 is a much faster camera, and I have it on a 330 millimeter refractor, so you're going to see a much closer view of the sun, and we've got that under wraps. So let's switch cameras and go to the 174, and we're actually switching telescopes. And we're too bright. I'm at 400 gain, don't need that. Also, I want to change this to auto and not 25%. Bring this back down some. And while I'm looking at the rim, let me make sure I've got my flats applied. Processing. Yep, I got a flat, but it doesn't look like it. It's the crap there. And let's get the histogram squared away. So, let's drop this down to. Let's bring this up to about 165. And now let's go down here to our histogram. Let's slide this over a little bit. Slide this over some. And let's try overexposing this a little bit and see if we got any flaring going on here. A little bit. Alright, let's move. I don't know what we're doing here. Let's see. Let's just keep going this way then. And let's overexpose. There's some flaring going on there. Let's back it off a little bit. And wrong way. I am not clipping the highlights over here on the far right side of the picture. I've just got the histogram. Wacky. Let's see if we got any flaring going up here. There's just a little bit of activity all around the limb of the sun, but those are called spiculas. Those little flares that come up and just kind of arc right back. There's that spot. Now let's run this up some and see if. Oh, now we got some. Now this is worth. This would be worth time lapsing because this is going to be changing its appearance. If I had to guess, I would guess that this flare is 12, 24, probably 30,000 miles high, maybe 50,000 miles high. I'm going by the size of Earth. Earth would be a little, about the size of this little circle I'm making right here, and since the diameter of the Earth is somewhere around 12,000 miles, that would be about 3 Earths high, so 36,000 miles. That's a swag estimate. Okay, let's bring the exposure down. And one of the neat things about the software I use for processing, which happens to be free, IMPPG and AutoStacker, is that you can take a picture showing the surface of the sun, and you can invert the sky and you see the problems, although they're not available, or you don't see, well, they're not problems with the flares, although you don't see the flares, they're there. And when you flip it and process it, wrong way. Okay, let's see if what's happening up here. And no, I think I need new flats. I see this dirt. This is actually dirt on the sensor. When it's that precise, this is dust or something on the Quark Chromosphere or on the IR UV cut filter. It's something, but it's at a distance from the sensor of the camera. And it's not on the protective glass of the camera. But here's another one. This is on the sensor. I just really don't clean those anymore. I clean the rest of the glass though. Usually use just a blower on everything and use flats to remove them. So I need new flats for sure. Flats take a picture of a defocused are a blurred out version, which only shows the residual on your optical train, and then it subtracts that residual from your image to remove those imperfections. That's what the flat does. And SharpCat will allow you to go up to capture and capture flats, and it will allow you to do that. Build your flat library, and I should do it, but I'm not. Let's see. I bet this is where those flares are. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, guys. This is worth the time lapse. That's some good stuff right there. Which way am I going? All right. Let me see if I've got. Come down, come down, come down, come down. All right. We want to go over this way? Yes, we do. We want to go up a little bit, maybe. And over. And up. I'm trying to frame this just to see if I can justify. Oh, I don't have time. I'm running out of time. It's 2:30, 3:30, 4. I'm in the trees. Well, let me drop this down and see what I've got in. Oh, yes. Okay, this would be a. Let me reset this histogram. Screw me up here. First of all, I'm too hot. Let's go down. Too much gain. And let's bring this. And pull it down now. Well, I may not be in focus. Let me go work on focus just for a minute. You don't want to go out 50. Let's go out 10 steps. And let's see if we can improve things. Let's get better. Yeah. That's too far. It's 174 histogram. It'd be a bear cat to get right. Let's try going back another. Tell you what, let's do this. This might help us. And let's go in about 75%. And let's try focusing this histogram a little differently. Cheat a little bit, and now let's focus. Oh, see the dirt? See this dirt? It's going to annoy me. I couldn't do a histogram without first removing that, though. Yep, that's the wrong way. Moving the focuser out now. I just moved it in some. I think that's as good as, that's probably as good as it's going to look. Let's take a picture and process it. So let me back out to auto. And let's zoom over here, over there, over here to where I have the solar flaring. I can't get it right. Come down, come down. Now come over, come over. Okay, let's double check. We got the sunspot in the frame, and let's see what we've got. Do we have the flare in the frame? Yeah. All right, so let's get our histogram right down here. That'll work. And let's change this from the Scout to the Quark. And let's just take 500 frames and see what we got. And I'll process this. So we're finished with that. Let's bring up Auto Stacker. And we're looking for today the Quark and our one and only image, and let's bring it up some. Finish. And let's set that to there, analyze it. We'll go back to the sun in a minute. I want to process one of these to see if it's just see what we got. It's going to take a minute because I'm on an ancient laptop. And while we're waiting, we'll go out and let's just restretch this automatically, and then we'll so this one line right here, this vertical line right here, this is my histogram. And all of my brights over here on the right side. The brighter part of the sun is over here. The sky in the background is way over here on the left. So when I drag and pull this beyond this curve here, I'm clipping just visually, not in reality. This is all just what we're looking at, but not what's really happening when the picture is being taken. But I'm starting to clip those lights. I'm eliminating them. So all we're looking at is from here to here. So all of these pixels are these pixels over here in this corner, and it doesn't show any information. In reality, if I was taking a picture, it does show information because this histogram itself isn't clipped. It's just this vertical line. I've moved the right side past the clipping point so that I have now clipped data visually, but not actually, because it's still showing that nothing's clipped. It's just it's a beast to look at. It's not very visually compelling. And that's what it is. Okay, let's go back to Auto Stacker. It should be finished with that part. Let's save. Nothing's good. Look at it. Look at this quality crap. Let's just go ahead and save. Let's put 200. And let's, what do we want to save? Let's save 10% of 550 frames and stack them. See what happens. I think Auto Stacker is, there it goes. We'll do 15%. Oh, that's a wicked bad image. I don't think that was in focus. Huh. We'll see what we got. We'll let it finish up here. And let's continue to move around the sun. And I'm going to switch back, I think, to the Scout. These filaments here are causing some issues with our space weather. Let's unclip them. And I'm going to bump this focuser again. No. I think that's not where we started. I'm not sure if we've got any activity on the limb here or not. Yeah, we got a little. Let's go ahead and take this image. And let's check our histogram. Works. So let's take another 500. Let's go back to auto stackered. That's done. This ought to be cool. I'm going to bring up IMPPG, image processing, and we're looking for we did the Quark 15%. There she be. Let's fill the image and let's process the entire thing at one time. Let's bring over my histogram, put an anchor point, drag that up so I can see the flaring. And let's see how we want to do this. Let's go down here, bring it down a little bit, bring this up, and that's up some. Let's bring deconvolution up to 2.8. Let's unsharp mask about 1.4. Same here, 1.4. Too far. And still doesn't look like, still unsharp, still a bad image. Okay. But you kind of get the idea that even though the sky is black when you take the image, you do have data that can be exposed when you just kind of flip this. I'll drag this over here, here, and I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to bring this up another. What happens when you start going overboard with deconvolution is that I keep a focus on the limb of the sun because you start getting a line, an unnatural line that kind of follows it, and it just ruins the image. Because there is some more sharpening and texture and clarity that can be added in Photoshop. This is just not a sharp image, unfortunately. It's a little better, not a lot. And the problem when you have dirt on your sensor, and I have some on the rest of the glass too, but these two pieces of dirt on the sensor, if I did a time lapse, these would be shaking all around during the plane of the time lapse, because even though you stack and align the images, they're not perfect, and these little dots right here would be just jumping around, annoying. But anyhow, okay, well, let's go back out and look at the sun. I think this is a bust. We'll just delete this, and let's go back to the 1600, and that shows a little better. I don't remember if up's down or down's up on this. Crosshairs. Let's see. Let's go. I think south brings it up. Yay. See, I'm not zoomed in at 125%. And so you get to see our star live and in person. There's that sunspot. Right here's where all that flaring's going on. There it is. When I'm using the Solar Scout, I keep the gain at 0. And I've started running the gain at 0 with really the 174 too. I get a better image. The frame rate goes down to 22, 23 frames per second, but that's fast enough to get 500. You don't need more than 500 frames on the sun. You just don't need more. Unlike the planets. I was taking Saturn and Jupiter the other night. I was taking 8,000 frames for Saturn and 12,000 for Jupiter. But then you got to derotate them in wind pose, because if you take 8 of those, you're going over a 30-minute period. And they got to be derotated. That's almost too much to derotate. Guys, I apologize for the sound. I turned on the streaming software on the wrong. Well, I started imaging with one iMac. And there's an iMac sitting right over here to my left, and that's where I have the Rode sound system connected. So this mic is worthless. My headphones are worthless. I can tell it's playing sound because I see the sound levels, but I don't know if it's too loud. I can see the mute. I can see it looks like my voice is too loud. I'll be anxious to play this back and hear what's going on. Maybe I won't be anxious to do that. And then I can tell the music is playing. That may be too loud. Tony, I don't know. Good question. I'm imaging the sun live. So, and earlier, I took a picture with another telescope with a solar system built in it. And I processed that. But we're just looking at a live view of the sun. And I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to change this to Scout because I'm using the Solar Scout, and I'm going to take a quick picture with 500 frames. Is that what you meant? I had some clear skies and a little bit of time, so I decided to go stream live and share what the sun looks like today. I was thinking I had a little more time than I do. It's a good while before the sun sets over the horizon, but it sets into the trees where I live a little after 4, probably more towards 4:20 to 4:30, and I need 2 hours for a time lapse. So it would have been a good idea to have a time lapse. I wish I had started earlier, maybe this morning, doing a time lapse of this part of the sky, of the sun, using the 174 camera and the AT65 EDQ refractor at 330 millimeters. That would have been, get about 200 images of that over a 2-hour period, and you would have seen the flare act up. I feel like, maybe not. Sometimes they don't move that much in a 2-hour period. Sometimes they go nuts in a 2-hour period. The fun's in the taking of them, processing and seeing what you got. It's like Christmas. You take these pictures, you don't know what you have until you start developing them. And it's like opening packages under a tree. Sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you knew what was coming. I have seen the sun with more active spots than this one, but these filaments are popping flares, and as Dr. Tamitha Skov would say, they're launching flares our way, and they do affect our space weather. They create radiation storms, magnetic storms, which has a lot to do with life on Earth. Not just the visual auroras that act up during magnetic storms in the higher latitudes, but it affects communications, ham operators, pilots flying in the northern latitudes are affected by it, and people with heart conditions are affected by it. Or can be affected by it. We'll zoom up, say 125%, and run up there and find that spot. Let's see, it should be up here. There we go. Take another. We'll process one of these, bring up auto stacker. This takes longer because these are huge files compared to the 174, but we'll get it started. Let's just take the first one, and let's analyze it, and we'll come back when it's finished. I think I'm going to need to move the sun south a little bit. I am polar aligned, as good as I can get this polar aligned. I did this in the daytime using a polar alignment app. Take the telescope off, I put my iPhone in the saddle, tighten it down, move it to the right altitude, move the azimuth to the right position, following the app's directions. And it got it close. But I do have some north and south drift, which is declination, which is polar alignment, but it isn't a lot. I can live with it. It's easy to manage it if you're doing a time lapse. Okay, let's take another. What's cool and neat when you're imaging the sun, every now and then, actually it happens more often than not, you'll get a jet flying through here and leave a trail. At least once a session, you'll have a jet, because we live fairly close to a jet port, the Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport. But you also, over a period of watching the sun and doing a time lapse, will see areas get brighter and dimmer, and see filaments gradually moving and showing up and kind of working their way across the face of the sun. What you don't see is what's going on the limb of the sun, because in order to view the disk, you've got to adjust your histogram accordingly. The only way you see what's going on the limb is to process the image, and then that brings it out. Let's see where auto-staggered is. All right, we finished doing that, so let's bring, that's still a pitiful histogram, but let's bring up, let's use 200 points on this too. It'll take a second to do this. These points are really, these boxes are 200 pixels by 200 pixels. And so that's what these presets are. And then up here, you make a decision on what percentage of the frames. So I just took 500 frames for this image, which is fine for this size image, or for the sun, not this size image. And I'm going to keep 10%. So out of the 500 frames, I want auto-staggered to get rid of 450 of them and only keep the best 50. So I'm going to put in here 10%. And then, or you could put 50. You can actually, you have a choice. You put in the number of frames you want to stack, or the percentage of the ones you took that you want to stack. I usually just use percentage. And if you want to try, say, keeping 5%, 10%, 20%, or 100%, then you have the option of creating 4 different folders. And the folders will be called AS for auto-staggered 15, AS 20, AS 30. That's how it's saved. So as soon as this finishes calculating these sample points on this, this will become active, and I will stack these. And what auto-stacker is going to do, it's going to take those alignment points and align all of the 50 images, the top 50, and it will align them and save them into a TIFF file. So let's do that now. And it's finding the best reference frame to use to stack the rest of them. Then it's going to perform the alignment based on the sample points and stack them together for a final image, do a map analysis, recombine the images, and we're done. And then I'll take them over into IMPPG and see if I can reveal stuff in the TIFF file. So let's go back to the sun for right now, because we're going to have to wait a few minutes while AutoStacker does its thing. So Tony, I've taken a picture of the sun. Actually, it's a video of the sun. The video is taking 22 frames down here per second. So it's a 500 frame video. I'll take one now, and it will take, to finish it, it's going to take dropping a few frames because I need to replace some cables going to my external hard drive. Alright, we got 500 frames in the can right now, and it took 25 seconds, and part of that was we had dropped frames. If I didn't have dropped frames, it would have taken 15 seconds to take 500. So now I have a video file. It's an SER, and I think it's an AVI file. Yeah, it's AVI. So now I have a AVI file. Take another one. And that's what I load into AutoStacker. AutoStacker reads every one of those frames. And because I said I want to keep the top 10%, it finds the top 50 frames and stacks those together into an image, and then I'll process that image in another software program. We ought to be getting close, but yeah, we're about done. We're about done. Almost done. Recombining, 93%, 94, 95, 97. Bingo. Bingo, bingo. Finish, finish, finish. Save it. Done. Alright, let's get rid of this. And now let's go to IMPPG. Let's open up this last saved AutoStacker file. And over here, Scout. Oh, I was going to say 10%. I ended up saving 15%. That's all right. Okay, the image is off the page, so I'm going to have to go up here and fit the image to the window. And then I want to process the whole thing at one time. I don't want to just do this section. So I click on right up here, and this box will go away, and I'll process the whole thing at one time. It's calculating things right now. All right, so I'm going to bring over my histogram. If I can get it and grab it. And let's put an anchor point. And let's invert this. And I took this image before transit. So the hot spots are down here in the bottom left, and so is this. Sunspot. Let's bring this down here, and let's bring this up here. All right, now let's watch the magic. Let's go up to about 4 here. This may turn out a little better. No, we don't want to go 5. Well, and let's bring this up to 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 will work. And it's doing it's working on it right now. It's going through the process of processing, so it's very processor intensive. So it's at 66%. 80%. It's getting close to finishing it up. All right, let's see what we got. It's getting ready to show. Let's zoom in a little bit. And some of it I like. Let's go down here. I know I can improve this one. Messing up the edges. Well, there's been better. I really cranked up the values here. It's overdone. Okay, this looks better here. We got a spicula over here on this side. Let's back it off a little bit. I got some fuzz up here, and in order to do that, you've got to, in order to remove that, this is going to take some work, because in order to keep this, this histogram, I'll have to spend, if this was a good image to start out with, and I really wanted to make this thing pop, I'd have to play around with how I really want to manipulate this histogram, and what colors am I going to want in the image. Do I want orange out here? And so there's all kinds of you have quite a few options here. As you can see. All right, let's go back, hit the sun. Not keeping it. Delete. And take another. Actually, I don't know why I'm not getting better images, because scene's really pretty good for me. This is really decent scene. Tell you what, let me do this. I think it's me. Let me go back to atmospheric, and let me see what scene is supposed to be. All right, Saturday. And no, scene is below average. So I'm at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and this is the scene reference right here, and it's below average right now. So, but the sun's not flying all over the place. The wind's not blowing it. I'm high enough in the sky that I'm not getting rooftop heat. So I don't know. Looks good to me. Looks aren't always the thing that matters. Good afternoon, Corin. How's London? That's my buddy over in London. The UK, my UK astro friend. Can't find the. There you go. Oh, I don't. Oh, well, I'll show you this. No, I won't either. I don't know what I'm doing. I hit the wrong thing. You can't see. This is. These are two pier-mounted telescopes that I'm using tonight. And over here is the tripod with the solar kits on it. They're over to the right. So you can't see them though, because this is what you call a port. It is windy out. Well, I'm surprised I'm not dealing with that. But this is what a poor man's observatory looks like. Umbrella. But anyway, this is a Smith Cassegrain. I'm going to be taking Jupiter and Saturn tonight. And over here is a wide field stellar view 70T. And I'm going to be taking, haven't decided yet. I may go back and get some more oxygen in SH2 129. That's the Squid Nebula. I may go back and work on that. I've got about 12 hours invested in it. It's shaping up, but I'm tired of, I've gotten bored imaging it. So now let's go back to the sun. Now we're back looking at the sun. Go up a little bit. We're drifting north. Let's take another. Oh, really? Wow. Warren's telling me he's got a lot of rain. Wow. We're blessed. We've got some pretty nice skies. I'll go curious. I haven't go back outside and fire up the camera again and let's see what the skies look like. Yeah, see, there's my sun. Skies are looking good. But the sun's going to set down right behind this tree in not too long, and my telescope's right down here. And so in another hour, I'm hitting this tree. So that's why I'm kind of stranded with no point in doing a time lapse. All right, turn this off. Need it. And let's go back. I was going to show you something. Warren, last night at a football game, American football game, our high school honored the seniors, the senior football players. And one of the seniors, whose dad's been stationed overseas, hasn't seen him in a year, and he and his dad are very close. I was talking to the principal of the high school earlier that evening, and he was telling me to make sure I focused on Hayden because they were going to make a presentation to him. But we have a giant jumbotron. Very few high schools have something this size, but it's a huge jumbotron at the end of the field. And it's our scoreboard. And they live streamed his father, who's stationed in Africa, wishing him well in his last game in high school. And I took these pictures last night. They just found out they had no idea. And when I asked him earlier in the evening, he was carrying this picture around. His name's Hayden Gallman. I said, Hayden, what's that picture of? He said, that's my dad. He said, he can't be here tonight. He's stationed overseas. I said, oh, that's a shame. Of course, I knew he was going to be live streaming, but they didn't know. So he just pops up on the Jumbotron, and his mama's seeing this for the first time. And it was about all we could do to keep from bawling. That's his mother. That's her son is stationed overseas, and that's Grandmama. And another picture. It was a touchy moment. And this is part of our coaching staff. This is the head coach at Dorman and our athletic director. We have some fine people. But at any rate, it's a great story. And here's the star. Take another. This is a video of the sun, Andy. We're a live view of our sun. Andy, I'm imaging the sun with special telescopes that allow you to see the sun without damaging your equipment or your eyes. So you're looking at a live image of the sun. We'll switch telescopes again now that we got that picture, and I want to go back and see how my flares are doing. And I'm going to move the telescope around the sun. And let's overexpose it. See if the flares are still popping. Yeah, that's amazing. These flares that are popping on the limb of the sun, this one I'm going to guess is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 12, 96,000, about 100,000 miles high. These flares. And they're popping off. This looks like it's the west side of the sun, but it's the east side of the sun, because the sun is already transited. But this is the east side of the sun, and the sun rotates from east to west. And so these flares are going to have an effect on our space weather. Because they'll either hit Earth or get close to Earth, and they affect our magnetic field, and they affect our they create radiation storms, radio interference, and the magnetic field, of course, has a lot to do with whether or not you'll see the auroras in the latitudes, higher latitudes, and just how low in latitudes the auroras may be visible. So these things are they're wicked. They're nuclear explosions is what they are. The sun is 98% hydrogen and helium, and it's just one big massive hydrogen explosion. The sun is burning its hydrogen up, and helium. You know, something that's fascinating to me is light hits our eyes in the form of photons. Photons is where we get the word photography from. Photons originate in the sun. They start in the center of the sun with fusion. It takes about 100,000 years for a photon to reach the surface of the sun. It takes 8 minutes for that photon to reach Earth. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, I would say. So we'll back this off a little bit. And let's go ahead and try taking another image. I didn't realize seeing was so bad. I can see the sun moving now, but I know the wind's blowing a good bit, so that's part of the reason. Let me move this east a little bit so I can get the sunspot. And let's go back and change this to Quark Chromosphere. And let's take 1,000 frames. And I'll keep 5% of those. Maybe I can find some better frames, get a better image. Let me take another 1,000. This one sunspot's here. That's it. This is the only one we have, Corin. I'll go back to the other rig and let's I gotta move the mount a little bit here. There's the spot. I got a lot of dirt spots. And on the limb of the sun, what you can't see unless I overexpose are those solar flares. Every now and then you'll get a coronal mass ejection, which is a flare, and you can see it and it just kind of starts arcing its way back. And but these are solar flares. These dark lines that snake across the surface are called filaments. This is a sunspot. And actually, these brighter spots are cooler areas of the sun. There's such a thing. I'll overexpose this, and you can see the action on the limb of the sun here. They'll start going into solar minimum in 2025. The question Corin has is, when will it go into solar minimum? The solar maximum is supposed to peak in 2025. Some people think it's peaking now. Dr. Skov is saying that there may be 2 peaks now and in 2025. That it may peak now and kind of wane a little bit and then peak again. I'm going to capture another. Actually, I'm going to take 1,000 frames of the sun too. It'll take us a little while. I'll start getting some drop frames. I've got some USB issues. Haven't really tracked it down. I think it's my cables, but it could be in the. It's possible that it's in my Pegasus power box, which let's take a look at. It's 89 degrees at the telescope. So it's hot up there. Well, the sun's hitting on it too. And so we're see, when I'm having to buffer the frames, then that's in my cabling. I'm gonna take another 1,000. I got a new banjo coming Monday. I'm excited. Can't wait. The banjo I play now weighs 16 pounds. It's a lot to carry around. The one that's coming away 4 pounds. Love to play the banjo. Born, you know what bluegrass music is? I don't know that bluegrass, it's very Scottish Irish. It originated in, now the banjo came from Africa, but it's really made its name in the States with Appalachia type folk music, and bluegrass spawned from that, and I enjoy playing that. Take another one. I'm getting ready to shut it down. I'm getting I just got a hand signal from my wife wanting to know if I want anything from the grocery store, and I do. So she's got to go find her before she leaves. All right. Well, friends of the sky, whether it's night sky or it's the day sky, I enjoyed sharing the sun with you and a few images that I've taken, and also especially the story of Hayden Gallman, the young man who was able to see his father live last night at the football game. Y'all have a great weekend. Love everybody. Be good to somebody today. And I'll catch you. And I'm going to be back live tonight, imaging. If you're bored stiffless and you have nothing else to do, tune in. Catch you later.